My name's Evan. I'm 38 now. 2 years ago, I almost died alone in a hospital bed while my wife, Serena, went out for drinks with her coworkers. At the time, we'd been married for 6 years. No kids, by choice. I was the planner. She was the free spirit. I had a solid IT consulting career, and she worked in HR for a mid-sized company. Serena was charming, extroverted, always had something to say, until she didn't want to hear anything from me. I got sick fast. What started as the flu turned into severe pneumonia with a nasty secondary infection. I collapsed in our bathroom trying to stand up. The paramedics said if I'd waited even an hour longer, I could have been dead. But this isn't a story about medical drama. It's about what happened after I was admitted. The first day in the hospital, Serena showed up with a half-hearted, "Hey babe, you'll be fine." She stayed for 20 minutes and left to get sushi. I was on oxygen, wheezing like a dying dog, trying to hold down bile, and she texted me a picture of a tuna roll and wrote, "Wish you were here, kiss mark." Second day, nothing. Third day, she came in again, stayed 10 minutes, and asked if I could please stop blowing up her phone. I had texted twice. Once to ask her to bring my charger. Once to say the nurse told me I might need a minor procedure. Her reply? "I'm not your babysitter, Evan. Handle it yourself." I didn't reply. I stayed quiet. And I paid attention. Nurses looked at me with pity. One of them, Joan, said, "Your wife doesn't visit much, huh?" I shook my head and lied. "She's busy with work." Joan gave me a look I'll never forget. That soft, disappointed squint people give when they want to say something but don't think they should. By day 5, I knew I wasn't just recovering from an infection, I was waking up to my whole damn life. When I finally got discharged, I didn't tell Serena the date. I arranged for a private car to pick me up. The nurse helped me dress. My discharge papers were folded neatly in a folder with my name on them, like a final reminder of who I was before I came in here. I got home around 6 p.m. Serena was sprawled on the couch in yoga pants, wine in hand, watching reality TV. She glanced at me, smirked, and said, "Oh, you're home. Look at you, walking and everything. Guess you didn't need me after all." I nodded, didn't say a word, went upstairs, packed 2 bags, grabbed my essentials, laptop, phone, chargers, some clothes. She followed me up eventually. "Wait, what are you doing?" she asked, laughing. "You're being dramatic, Evan." Still didn't answer. When I zipped the last bag, she chuckled and walked away. I heard her pour another glass of wine and say under her breath, "Go ahead, run away. You'll be back." That night, I left. No goodbye. No text. I didn't block her. I wanted her to see me vanish. Let the silence haunt her. I spent the first night at a short-term rental about 30 minutes from our house. I didn't have a new place yet. Didn't even tell my friends what happened. I just disappeared. Serena texted me twice the next morning. "So where are you? You're seriously not answering? Are you really that mad?" "No. I'm sorry. No, I was wrong. Just confusion, like she'd bumped into an unexpected speed bump, not a wall." I didn't answer. That silence became a weapon. The kind she didn't see coming. For 6 years, I'd been her fallback guy. The planner. The fixer. The responsible one. She made the mess. I cleaned it up. But not this time. By day 3, she'd left me 6 messages. They ranged from fake concern, "Just let me know you're okay," to passive-aggressive, "Wow, you're acting like a damn child. Is this really about the hospital?" to panicked, "I swear if you don't respond today, I'm calling your sister." She didn't. And I didn't respond. Not once. Instead, I focused on me for the first time in years. Rented a small condo. Changed the locks on all shared accounts. I even got a new therapist, a tough old guy named Martin who listened, leaned back, and said, "So, you married a narcissist, huh?" I nodded. And for the first time, I admitted it out loud. "Yeah, I think I did." Here's where the story starts to curve. A few weeks after I left, I got a call from a recruiter I didn't recognize. Her name was Leah. She said she was working on behalf of a startup doing a large expansion. She'd gotten my name from someone at Serena's company. At first, I was confused. But then she said something that made it all click. "Your name came up when we were evaluating candidates for senior HR restructuring support. Apparently, you've consulted with someone at Whitley & Cole before." That was Serena's company. And suddenly I realized she had listed me in a company doc as a potential point of contact for an outsourced project. Probably to make herself look connected. She didn't expect anyone to actually call me. I smiled. Yes, I'd be very interested in speaking with someone further. Let me be clear, I wasn't about to sabotage Serena's job. I'm not that guy. But the chance to be on the inside of a company she worked for? That was too poetic to ignore. I didn't tell them we were married. Didn't mention it when I got an interview. Didn't mention it when I got offered a 6-month contract role in the same building, 2 floors up. Oh, and guess what my job was? Transition oversight for HR consolidation. In other words, I was helping them decide who stayed and who got let go during a restructure. The first time Serena saw me in the elevator, she went pale. I was dressed sharp. Haircut. No bags under my eyes. Smiling. Evan. She blinked like she'd seen a ghost. I just nodded. Morning, Serena. Hope you're well. She was still standing in the elevator when I walked off. By the end of my first month, word got around that I was part of the team overseeing key department evaluations. Suddenly, I started hearing about concerns with Serena's behavior. Apparently, she'd been missing meetings, snapping at subordinates, rumors about her spending long lunch hours off premises. HR already had an open file on her, but nothing had stuck. So I did what any professional would do. I let the system work. But I made sure to stay just visible enough that she knew I had a front row seat. Then she tried to flip the script. One afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. Can we talk? Not about work. Please. I stared at the screen. 3 months earlier, she told me to handle it myself. Now she wanted a heart-to-heart? I replied with one word. No. That weekend, I got an email from our old joint lawyer. Serena had finally filed for separation. Probably to save face. Make it look mutual. I let her. Didn't contest anything. Didn't argue about the furniture. Didn't mention the hidden savings account I'd set up 6 months before I got sick. Let her have her illusion of control. I had something better. And here's the kicker. 2 months later, she got flagged in an internal audit. Turns out Serena had been covering for a junior colleague who was clocking hours he didn't work, and she'd approved them. Whether it was stupidity or favors, I'll never know. But HR policy is HR policy. A formal investigation was opened. And the day she was walked out, she looked up at the second-floor balcony, where I was standing, and burst into tears. She knew. It took 2 years. 2 years of silence. No replies. No callbacks. I didn't block Serena. I wanted her to see how completely I'd erased her, without erasing the evidence. I never posted anything online. No passive-aggressive memes. No cryptic updates. Just quiet success. Until one night, 11:47 p.m., I get this message. Hey. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I was just wondering if we could talk. I stared at it. Deleted it. The next day, she emailed. Then a card showed up at my new apartment. Handwritten. Full of fake vulnerability and poetic regret. She even taped a Polaroid of us from 2017 on the inside, me smiling, her holding up a glass of wine like a trophy. I didn't know what I had until it was gone. Please give me a chance to explain. I didn't. The next message came from her mom. I hadn't spoken to that woman in 5 years. Serena's not in a good place. She's been through a lot. I think she still loves you. Nope. She loved what I was: safe, stable, useful. Now she was unemployed, burned out, and rumor had it her freedom years had come back to bite her. Nobody wanted to hire a liability with baggage and a digital trail of HR complaints. I didn't respond to her mom either. Then one night, I came home, and she was waiting by the building. Hood up. Makeup free. Not crying, but close. I know I messed up, she said quietly. But I was scared. I didn't know how to help you back then. I nodded. Just nodded. Then I said, I almost died. You chose wine over me. That's all I need to know. She whispered, you were supposed to come back. And I replied, I did. Just not to you. I turned and walked inside. 2 weeks after she showed up at my building, Serena tried a new tactic, reinvention. She posted a long, overly filtered Instagram story with a quote overlay, something like, growth means letting go of the people you hurt. Cryptic enough to sound wise, but targeted enough to hit my inbox 20 minutes later with a follow-up message. I know I made mistakes. I was in a dark place. I've grown. The nerve. She wasn't apologizing. She was rebranding. I ignored her again. But a week later, I got a call from a mutual friend, Janelle. We hadn't spoken in months. She's telling people you abandoned her during your illness, Janelle said. I actually laughed. She's what? She said you pushed her away. That you ghosted her before you got hospitalized. That you were emotionally distant and controlling. That was Serena's new angle. Not only had she left me to rot in a hospital, she now wanted to flip the script and make herself the victim. I didn't fight it. Didn't post screenshots or dig up receipts. I didn't need to. Because the truth has a funny way of showing up uninvited. Later that month, I was invited to a birthday party for an old friend from Serena's side. I almost declined, but curiosity won. When I walked in, people stared. Not in a hostile way, more like surprise. Like, oh, he exists. It didn't take long before a few pulled me aside. She told us you went off the grid. That you had a breakdown. I told the truth, simply. I was hospitalized. Alone. She didn't show. So I left. That's it. And it spread. Because drama travels fast, but truth spreads slow and sticks harder. The next morning, Serena texted again. You're poisoning people against me. No, Serena. You did that yourself. The next time Serena contacted me, it wasn't a text. It was a voicemail, her voice shaking with fake vulnerability. I was thinking about the time you brought me soup when I had that awful cold in 2018. You were always so kind. I didn't deserve you. But maybe I could again. I'm better now. I didn't reply. She followed up with a picture of her holding our old dog, Max, a beagle we adopted our second year married. Except there was a problem. Max wasn't hers. He was mine. She'd given him away to her cousin without telling me when I left. Claimed it was too painful to keep a reminder of me around. That cousin reached out to me months later, told me what happened, and I took Max back. He'd been with me ever since. Now she wanted to use him as bait. I posted a selfie with Max on my private story. No caption. Just me, him, and a familiar apartment in the background. A few hours later, I got another message. This one was darker. You're cruel. You know that? I gave everything I had to you. And now you're out here turning people against me? You act like I cheated or hit you. I just didn't want to be your nurse. No remorse. Just rage that her lies weren't working. 3 days later, she showed up at my job. Not at my floor. Not for a meeting. She literally walked into the lobby and told the front desk she needed to speak with Evan regarding a personal matter. Security called me. I told them, escort her out. Call the police if she returns. They did. And as she left, she looked straight into the lobby camera and flipped it off. So I emailed it to myself. Just in case. It had been nearly a year since I vanished from Serena's life, and she'd spent every month since trying to rewrite history. But now she'd crossed a line, showing up at my job, raging in public, lying about our past. So I decided to talk. Not online. Not through passive-aggressive posts. Just with people who mattered. It started with my sister. We'd always been close, but I'd gone radio silent after the hospital, ashamed of how low I'd let things get. I invited her over. We had coffee. She asked how I'd been. Really? So I told her. Everything. The hospital. The wine. The "I'm not your babysitter" text. The silence. The smear campaign. The security footage. Her eyes widened. Her mouth tightened. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she leaned back and whispered, Jesus, Evan, why didn't you tell me sooner? I shrugged. Because I didn't want sympathy. I wanted silence. She hugged me. Then said, well, screw her. People deserve to know. And they did. Word spread quickly through our old friend group. No drama, just quiet side conversations. People started putting the pieces together. She said you ghosted her. She told us you were emotionally abusive. Wait, she wasn't at the hospital? Suddenly her story cracked like cheap glass. The crocodile tears. The Instagram self-pity. The whispered rumors. All exposed. Not by me shouting, but by people connecting dots and realizing the picture Serena painted didn't make sense. Then came the final blow. Her cousin, the one who'd fostered Max, dropped a bomb in a group chat. She shared her story. Told everyone Serena dumped Max without a word. That I came weeks later to pick him up, because I cared. Her words. If Evan was the villain, he's the kindest damn villain I've ever met. By now, most of the people in our old circle either sided with me or quietly backed away from Serena altogether. I never asked anyone to choose. But truth has gravity, and hers was unraveling fast. So Serena did what cornered people often do. She escalated. It started with a post. A black and white photo of her in bed, hair messy, captioned, recovering from everything. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Betrayal doesn't always come from the one who leaves, it comes from the one who stays silent. Cue the sympathy comments. Cue the vague replies. Cue the drama. But then she dropped a nuke. When I miscarried and he still left. I knew I was on my own. Wait. What? What miscarriage? We had no kids. No pregnancy. No trying. She'd always said she wasn't ready for kids, and frankly, neither was I. But suddenly she was telling people I abandoned her after a miscarriage. At first, I was stunned. Then furious. Then, I caught a breath. Because there was one thing she didn't count on. Dates. The post timestamped her supposed miscarriage at late August, 3 weeks after I left. 3 weeks after I'd packed my bags and vanished. And during those weeks, she'd gone on vacation. Her own social media, still public at the time, showed it. Beach selfies. Drinks. Brunches. A caption that read, "Finally living again, cherry blossom bottle with popping cork." No signs of grief. No signs of recovery. Just a lie so sloppily constructed, it collapsed under the weight of its own timeline. I didn't comment. Didn't message. But a few others did. Screenshots landed in my inbox within hours. Hey Serena, weren't you in Cabo that week? You didn't mention anything about this when we talked last month. This is a weird time to bring this up. And just like that, she went silent. The post vanished. Comments deleted. And for a few weeks, nothing. But the silence? It was just the eye of the storm. I knew Serena was spiraling. The fake miscarriage proved it. But I didn't expect her next move. She didn't text. Didn't show up. Didn't even post. Instead, she went for the one thing that made her feel powerful, control. Over our past. I got a call from the bank. Routine security check, they said. Hi, Mr. Langston. Just confirming. You recently requested access changes to your old joint account? I hadn't. We closed that account months ago after the separation. Or so I thought. Turns out, one dormant savings account we opened together years ago, barely $800 inside, had never been fully shut down. It was under both our names. She'd called in, claimed we were working things out, and tried to reset the credentials. Said I'd lost my phone and wanted to consolidate access. Except the rep on the phone noticed the contact info didn't match and flagged it. Did you authorize this? No, I said calmly. And I'd like the attempt recorded. That same week, my insurance provider emailed me about an updated marital status. Serena had logged in, using old credentials she'd somehow remembered, and tried to list herself back on my plan. Claimed it was an error when questioned. 2 lies. 1 goal. She wasn't trying to reconnect. She was trying to rewrite history like we were still linked. Like I'd never left. I met with my lawyer. Filed a restraining order. It wasn't dramatic or explosive. Just legal. Quiet. Final. We submitted logs, bank records, email attempts, even a screen of her trying to list me on a shared health plan again. She didn't contest it. Didn't show up to the hearing. Didn't message me again. It was like she blinked out of existence. After the restraining order, the silence felt different. Not tense. Not temporary. Just empty. Serena was gone. But even ghosts leave behind reminders. And hers sat in a dusty cardboard box in the back of my storage unit, our wedding album. I hadn't opened it since I left. One afternoon, I pulled it out. No real reason. Just curiosity. Maybe closure. The photos were perfect. Too perfect. That fake, Pinterest plan perfection that hides everything real beneath it. Her in white, grinning like she'd already won something. Me in a stiff suit, younger, oblivious. I flipped through each page slower than the last. Our first dance. The cake cutting. Her whispering something in my ear while everyone clapped. I used to think that moment was love. Now I wondered what she was really saying. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat with it. And then I drove to the lake behind my apartment complex. There's a small fire pit there. Residents use it for s'mores in summer. It was winter. No one around. I lit the fire, opened the album one more time, and fed in each page slowly. No music. No drama. Just ash. Somewhere in that flame, the weight lifted. Because the photos didn't represent love anymore. They represented illusion. And I was done carrying it. Funny thing? The next morning, I got one last letter. Handwritten. No return address. No name. Just this. If you ever wonder whether I loved you, I did. I just didn't know how. I folded it once and threw it in the trash. Because love isn't about knowing how. It's about choosing to show up. And she didn't. It happened at a coffee shop, of all places. 2 full years since I'd last heard her voice. I was picking up a latte for a client meeting. She was standing in line, hair shorter, no makeup, Same nervous fidgeting with her phone. She looked up, froze, and whispered, "Evan." I nodded, calm, detached. "Serena." She smiled like we were old friends. "Wow, it's been a while." I didn't answer. She stared, waiting for something, nostalgia maybe, warmth, regret, anything. But all I gave her was peace. The kind you have when you owe someone nothing. Then she said the line that stuck with me. "I think about us sometimes. I still don't understand how you could leave without a word." And there it was, still making herself the victim, still rewriting the past like the truth didn't exist. I looked at her for a long second. Not angry, not sad, just done. Because you didn't say a word when I needed you. So I returned the favor. She blinked. Tears welled. But I'd seen that show before. I picked up my drink, turned to go. And just before I stepped away, I said, "I didn't disappear, Serena. I healed. Without you." That was the last time I saw her. No more messages. No letters. No social media jabs. Just a clean cut through the past. I'm in a new relationship now. One built on mutual care, actual communication, and most importantly, presence. Because love isn't found in grand gestures or poetic apologies. It's found in the moments people show up without being asked. The real revenge was healing so quietly, so completely, that she became nothing more than a footnote in a story that no longer belongs to her. The man she abandoned at his weakest is the man she'll never touch again. And that's exactly how it should be.